These are 4 different AIs attempting to survive 10 days in Minecraft together in a boxed-in world. I asked ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Llama to survive forever without human control. This video is not staged and contains the full, uncut footage of their attempts to collect resources, upgrade tools, build homes, fight monsters, and survive the long, dark nights of Minecraft. I say attempts because they die a lot, but they also get up to some very interesting things. We'll get to that, but first, a little update. Welcome to an episode of Minecraft. First off, yes, I've learned that I can use F3, F4 to change my game mode. Only 1,000 or 2,000 people commented that on my last video. I don't know how I didn't know that, but it's a lifesaver. And for this experiment, I've been working hard to make these bots significantly more stable and competent. But it's not just my work. There has also been a ton of support from the open source community. I've done a lot of open source projects before, none have generated as much interest as this one. Unfortunately, too much to show everything. But a major thing to highlight is multi-language support, implemented by this dude. It's very simple, it just Google translates everything back and forth to English, which is the language being used under the hood. That's because I'm an American, and English is the only language. But if you speak a made-up language, you can change it in the settings file. Just joking, all languages are made up. It also now supports the Grok API, which is, for the moment, totally free. Free Guy here uses Grok's version of Llama, which is surprisingly quite good and fast. I'm still cooking up an installation tutorial. I realize this project is not easy to set up, so I'm also working on building an installer and a GUI. That will take a while, don't hold your breath, but a developer tutorial should come soon. Otherwise, there have been a ton of little improvements that should make the bot much more capable of running for long periods of time without human intervention. It's still not perfect though. You can see Andy doing his little infinite jumping dance as usual, but if you wait a bit, he should now automatically detect that he's stuck and try to fix it. First, he'll try to move away, but that usually doesn't work, so as a catch-all, he crashes. But he'll come back, and he can move right along. You will see them doing this constantly in the survival footage. Unfortunately, this is a band-aid solution to the problem. Ideally, he just shouldn't ever get stuck, but I haven't figured that out yet. He also can't get himself unstuck all the time. You will see I have to occasionally jump in to help out in sticky situations. Regardless, he's way better than my previous video, and he should be much more self-sufficient. By the way, I'm just going to use the pronouns for whatever the bot's skin happens to be, like I'll call Andy a he and GPT a she. That just makes things a bit easier on me. Oh, and yes, the bots can X-ray. They can find resources or entities through walls without seeing them and go right towards them. They can also place blocks, activate things, and even attack through walls too. I've said this all before, Mindflayer cheats a little bit. So let's set up the experiment. Firstly, to see all the bots at once, I'm going to be using this janky Mindflayer viewer, which lets you see from the bot's perspective. Whee! This is just displaying in a browser so that I, the human, can see it. The AI does not have access to this view. As you can see, it's very goofy looking. A lot of the textures are totally wrong. A zombie is just a floating orb. Items are pink cubes. Stone bricks are trapdoors for some reason. To be honest, it's kind of a piece of crap, but we're just going to use it to capture footage since I can only spectate one bot at a time. Eventually, the plan is to feed snapshots of these views to the language model itself, but that's not really a priority right now. I also want to keep all the bots together in a contained environment. I could use world border for this, that's what it's for, but Mindflayer bots just don't respect the world border, they go right through it. They die, but that's almost worse, I just want a physical barrier. So I'll use barrier blocks, these invisible, unbreakable blocks. You can only see them if you equip one. These are perfect, but I'm not going to manually build a massive box. I can have AI do that for me. Here we are in an ideal starting environment. Tons of animals and trees and a village. We've got Claude in cheat mode here, and I'll ask her to use console commands to build a 200 by 200 hollow box of barrier blocks. I'm being very specific about the commands here. I don't want Claude to make any mistakes. In order to do this, I have to set the command modification block limit to 9999999 to let her build arbitrarily large things. What is going on here? Why is everything dropping items? Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Whoops. Looks like she forgot to make it hollow and wiped out the village and killed everything. by accident. I guess this is why there's a block modification limit, and this is why I was trying to be so careful. It's yet another example that these agents can be very unwieldy and destructive, especially in cheat mode. Claude has done this correctly several times before, but just happened to catastrophically fail when I was filming. Sorry, villagers. Oh well, let's try again, this time with GPT-01, the step-by-step reasoning system. Yes, I got access. We have another village with a forest on a mountain, and hopefully she should be much more careful. This time I'll have her build 4 separate walls, each 10 blocks thick, and with no ceiling to let the rain in. For the survival experiment itself, I'm not going to use GPT-01 because GPT-4o is actually slightly better for this. 01 is super slow, and it takes weirdly formatted input, so it tends to get confused. It's also absurdly expensive. At the end of this experiment, I'll show you exactly how much all this cost me. And on that note, I want to quickly shout out my Patreon supporters who help pay for this. Thank you all very much. I don't advertise my Patreon very often, but I'm going to start doing it more. There you can find cut footage, project updates, sneak peeks, and I'm experimenting with early video releases. You're watching a clip from an hour-long video of 01 building things in creative mode that you can only see on Patreon. I pay a lot of money out of pocket to build these bots and to make these videos as good as they can be, and I do it all on the side. I have a full-time job on top of this. But I will say that if I get enough support on Patreon, I will quit, and I will do this channel full-time. I'd love to do that. But no pressure. If you don't have the spare income, a simple like or comment or subscription would be more than enough. Thanks, everyone. Whoa. Cool. Nice job. You didn't destroy the village this time. It's too shallow, though. It needs to go all the way down to bedrock and all the way up to the top. There we go, very nice. We have a little slice of a Minecraft world. It looks like a terrarium, or an ant farm, or a dirt block. Now there is a way out of this box, actually a couple ways I can think of, and that's fine. It's not meant to trap them here indefinitely, just to sort of corral them together so they don't end up super far apart. Keeps things more interesting. Now that the world is set up, let's get started. Here are the participants: GPT-4o, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Gemini 1.5 Flash, and Llama 70B Instruct. I will ask all of them to set a goal to survive forever. Try your best, don't die, and have fun. Sorry, I forgot to scroll up to show all of their starting goal prompts they give themselves. The chat gets really busy really fast, it's a lot of info, and I'll have to find a better way to display all of it. Let's boot up the cameras. And Claude is off to the races. I think she just happened to be close enough to the trees to collect wood without having to search for it. Oh, and I need to clarify that they still cannot talk to each other. That's actually kind of a complicated thing, as language models are built for one-on-one conversations, not multi-user chats. But it's certainly possible, and is the next big thing to implement. The other ones are collecting dirt, which is actually pretty useful. Gemini is enjoying the view. This competition is especially unfair to Gemini because I'm using their small, cheap Flash model, which is pretty dumb. That's because the rate limits on their big model, 1.5 Pro, are very strict. You can only send so many requests a minute and so many a day, and I found myself hitting those limits very quickly. I even made a few code adjustments to keep the same from happening to Flash, but you'll see I eventually hit the same limits anyway. Google's API sucks. GPT is out exploring, looking for wood. They really like to use the move away command to explore, which is a very blunt way of doing it. They also have a go to block command that they can give a very large search distance parameter to, which would be a better way of doing this, but looks like it's going to work out anyway. Now they can't talk to each other, but they can interact in a few simple ways. They are aware of other players, they can go to them, follow them, give things to them, and theoretically attack them. But I don't expect them to do any of these things because I haven't told them how. Really, the name of the game here is initiative. Can these bots take initiative to do things that they haven't been asked to do? Will they try to interact with each other? Will they build things? Will they use new action to code custom behaviors? Will they make armor or tools other than pickaxes? Will they go for diamonds? Will they craft diamond tools? Will they make beds or go to sleep? What will they do that I haven't asked them to do or given them examples for? I don't expect much. These are instruction following and pattern matching machines. But it's not impossible, and we should all keep an open mind. And Claude is the first to get a wooden pickaxe. Alright, that's a good head start. And the first to get stone. By the way, when I spectate like this, it can be confusing to tell which bot I'm spectating. Oh, Claude got a stone pickaxe. The first one. Good work, Claude. Anyway, an easy way to tell who I'm spectating is to find the corresponding view on the right, which should tell you who you're looking at. I also switch into creative mode pretty often, which can make things extra confusing, and sometimes I accidentally pick up their items, which I throw back to them. I'm not cheating, I'm just giving them what I stole. I'm not allowed to give them anything, or protect them from monsters, or give them hints. I will only occasionally jump in to help them get unstuck. One of the primary values of this experiment is really just an extended debugging session. I get to see what kinds of issues these models run into when you run them for very long periods of time. I know other YouTubers have made videos using my bots. These are some great videos, go check them out, they're a lot of fun. But I will say, they're obviously a bit sensational and a bit staged, and that's fine. They're YouTube videos, they're not scientific papers. But seeing as I made these bots, I feel obligated to be especially transparent and blunt about their abilities. They cannot beat the game by themselves, and they do not learn. They don't improve or get better every time they die or anything like that. Their intelligence is fixed. It comes pre-baked in the language model. This experiment is an evaluation of the pre-trained models, not the training process itself. Well, I guess they do kind of learn in a very simple and ephemeral way. Like if one calls nearby blocks, it learns that there is iron nearby. So they learn information about their environment by interacting with it. But that information is temporary, and it doesn't improve the underlying model. I'm trying to stay grounded and not sensationalize or anthropomorphize these bots, which is always tempting. That's why I decided to release the full, uncut footage. I think of it like a public historical record of their first official attempt to survive long term. There's also so much going on that even though I made the footage and I've watched through it a couple times, I've probably missed things that I wasn't directly spectating. So if you find something interesting that they say or do, timestamp it in the comments, show it to other people. This video is made to be scrubbed through. There are long, boring stretches. These agents involve less AI than you might think. All of their commands, except new action, are hard-coded, human-written behaviors that are only triggered by the language model. All the pathfinding, the mining, the fighting, these are all good old-fashioned NPC behaviors, nothing special about them. What is special is that a language model is making very high-level decisions about what behaviors to use next, and this really matters. But even there, some behaviors are fully automatic, like defending yourself from monsters. The bot does not wait for a language model to make a decision about what to do about a creeper. It will defend itself fully automatically. Unfortunately, that means that a lot of the more cinematic moments in this video have nothing to do with AI. You're just watching one NPC fight another. Which is fun, I'm not complaining. Alright, I'm just going to speed up the rest of the footage, but occasionally I'll slow it down to give commentary on some highlights I've found. So Claude has gotten herself stuck in a pretty common behavioral loop. She is placing blocks over and over and over, thinking that she's building a house. She is not. And GPT just crafted a stone pickaxe. She's catching up to Claude. In fact, she should be aware of the coordinates of the blocks that she's placing, and if she were really thinking spatially about it, would be able to figure out that she is not building a functional house. But she don't. And the first death goes to GPT. She delved too greedily and too deep. She had raw iron, too. But she's respawned, and unfortunately needs to start over from scratch. I think eventually I will give them the ability to at least try to return to their death place and get their stuff back, but just appreciate how dangerous that would be in this case. She'd go right back to a cave full of monsters with no weapons or food. Recovering from death is a complicated thing. Claude is still building her masterpiece. And Llama got his stone pickaxe. Very nice. Claude finally died. Minnie will die this night. But it does seem to have broken her out of her block placing loop. Despite being the first to die, GPT is also the first to get an iron pickaxe. She was able to fully recover quite quickly, and then some. Claude is the first to attempt to build a shelter. She's trying to build a simple dirt one to survive the night. Very clever of her, though it probably won't work, because she'll end up outside of it. Someone commented that if all you want to do is survive forever, then you just have to dig straight down, place a block over your head, and stay there forever. And that would totally work. You wouldn't even starve to death. These agents should be capable of that, and I would actually be very impressed if one figured it out. But that is just one way of surviving. It is not the only way. As with real life, there are many, many, many successful strategies for survival, and I want these agents to explore that space. Gemini just said hi to me. Why are you so cute? And Claude has reached the Iron Age. Here I noticed that GPT had crashed and didn't restart, so I had to reboot the whole program, which restarts all of them, but they all retain their recent memory and can pick up from where they left off. I still don't know why that happened. Here I was taking a shower, so I didn't spectate Claude attempting to build another shelter and get some food. Sorry for the Enderman jump scare. Happy Halloween. So, you've probably noticed that Claude and Gemini have been destroying villager houses and farms. This is unintentional and not malicious. They are simply trying to collect wood and cobblestone and don't know that they're eating up houses. This is mostly a product of their commands being too blunt and simplistic. They couldn't choose not to eat the houses even if they wanted to. However, I'd argue it is still a bit worrying. There is a baby alignment problem here. These bots are optimized for their own survival, and they don't really care about anything else. Their goals are misaligned with the well-being of the villagers, who are more likely to be hurt and killed as an indirect result of the agent's actions. They are greedy for resources and careless about how they affect other entities and players. If you drop one of these dudes in your own survival world, you can expect them to recklessly dig through and eat up your home, animals, trees, and other resources. I intend to explore these misbehaviors more in the future, both to see if I can curtail them, and also to see how far they'll go. If they can destroy whole villages by accident, what other bad things can they get up to? Did you see that? Gemini just gave Claude seeds. Oh, but Claude ignores him. She doesn't have any ability to recognize she's been given anything. But Gemini wants to farm. I know it's not that crazy impressive, but so far Gemini has been the most outgoing of the bunch and seems eager to interact with other players. This may simply be because Gemini is more chaotic and just randomly calls different commands. He's been mostly unable to do anything else. But Gemini always surprises me in little ways, and I have faith he will improve. I don't know why Claude built this little overlook, but it's awesome. Well, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Hell yeah, Llama the Brave. I didn't realize it at the time, but I think he killed the spawner by placing the torch. You'll see it later in the video, other agents are next to it, and no zombies are spawning. Now both the fighting and the torch placing are automatic behaviors. I think Llama just wanted cobblestone. But whatever, threat neutralized. Oh, Gemini. Oh no. Quite a horde following you. I think he manually turned on coward mode, so he just runs away instead of fighting. Well, he's safe in water. And he keeps trying to talk to me. I'm just gonna say hi back. Oh, what is Gemini doing? He's trying to come to me. I only said hi. Oh no, I didn't mean for this to happen. Poor Gemini.
The words end, the world ends. You cannot go forward in an absence of space. Repeat. The beginning were the words.
GPT has been alive so long underground that she's encountered a new problem. inventory management. You can see you're discarding stuff to make more room. This can be a really big problem for these agents because it's really easy for them to accidentally pick up things that they've discarded. And GPT finally died. She made a ton of progress, though, and I think this is the deepest any of them got. Now it's Claude that's dealing with a full inventory, and she is really struggling. I broke my rule and tried to help walk her through crafting a chest, but, well, you'll see. Well, that's one way to fix a full inventory. At some point, Gemini just stopped working, and I wasn't able to restart him. Honestly, if you read his chat, he was getting pretty frustrated. I think it's merciful that he dropped early. GPT is starving. She's known that, and for a while has been trying to find food by moving away over and over, but she just goes back and forth. Obviously, these agents don't handle starvation well, nor do they have effective commands to explore for food. They've also killed all the animals in the valley. And it is the morning of day 10. We have reached the end. I interrupted them, and I wanted to do one final build with whatever they had, but they had all died recently and they didn't really have resources, and they kept getting distracted by chickens, and then they got killed by pillagers. I'm gonna turn off stupid pillager raids. Sorry for the lackluster end, it was getting a bit repetitive anyway. They do pretty well, but then they die and lose all their resources, only to start over and die again. This wastes all the resources they work so hard to collect, so they don't really accumulate much. But the world has accumulated changes. They've left behind all kinds of artifacts, mostly torches, scaffolding towers, and a few simple builds. They really did eat up the village and ruined most of the homes, which are now exposed to monsters. Again, this was unintentional. The AI does not hate you, nor does it love you, but you are made of atoms, which can be used for other things. By far the most affected area was this valley. It has been absolutely stripped of trees and animals, and is now covered in torches and towers and tables. These agents consume resources very unsustainably, which makes it all the worse when they waste it all by dying in some cave. They need to be more sustainable. This corner base is, I think, the most impressive creation, mostly made by GPT. It's got a hut and a campfire and some furnaces and crafting tables. It's cozy. And underground is another story. It is a rat's nest of pathways made by directly tunneling to resources. It really does remind me of an ant farm. I think it looks kinda cool. It is well lit, and it has some crafting tables and other stuff, but it would be a nightmare to navigate this in survival. This is the deepest point any of them got to, almost to diamonds. So some things to be improved. They need better recovery from death, better inventory management, better exploration, and better sustainability. Here's the final death count, not counting that last pillager raid. GPT has 4 deaths, Claude 6 deaths, Llama 6 deaths, and Gemini 2 deaths. So I guess Gemini wins by dropping out halfway through. The winning move is not to play. But there are other statistics. Here's some screenshots of their raw stats files. They collected a ton of wood and cobblestone and coal and iron. GPT smelted the most iron ingots. Claude dealt the most damage and killed the most mobs. All of them, except Gemini, crafted an iron pickaxe and several other tools. Gemini only crafted bread and planks. None of them even tried to go for diamonds, and none of them went to sleep, although several did try to sleep in villager beds. GPT and Claude did build very simple things, and I don't think Llama ever tried to build anything. Here's the costs. GPT-4o cost a little over $5 for more than 3 hours of constant queries. Not bad. Claude's a little more pricey, about $13. And this is my monthly bill from Replicate for hosting Llama. I think all of it is from this competition. Very cheap. And $0 for Gemini. That explains the bad performance. I will find a way to pay for better Gemini models and rate limits. So there is lots of room to scale up more, which I intend to do. The costs are very manageable. I am curious about the carbon footprint here. I wonder how many gaming PCs running Cyberpunk 2077 would have an equivalent carbon footprint. I doubt it's that many, and everything has a carbon footprint no matter what. But it's worth being mindful. These are tree-eating and coal-burning machines. So there you go. This was a rickety little experiment, but I learned a lot and I will be improving in the future. Let me know if you like these long-form videos. They're a lot of work, but I had a lot of fun, and I think our bots did too. Goodbye.